We all know who Malcolm X was. He was an African American Muslim minister, a human rights activist, and an important figure during the civil rights movement. He was killed on February 21st, 1965. There were 3 men convicted for his murder: Muhammad Abdul Halim, Muhammad A. Azazi, and Khalil Islam. This is important information to know because on November 17th, there was a trending topic on Twitter involving Malcolm X and the men convicted for his murder. 2 of the men who were convicted, Muhammad A. Azazi and Khalil Islam, were going to be exonerated after 55 years on Thursday, November 18th. According to the New York Times, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, more commonly known as the FBI, and the New York City Police Department, the NYPD, withheld key evidence that would have acquitted the 2 men. The 3rd man, Halim, confessed, but maintained that the other 2 were innocent. On November 17th, I didn't log on to Twitter until late that day. But when I did, I saw the trending story about Malcolm X and the men wrongfully convicted for his murder. I saw many tweets about this. Mostly the tweeting came from news outlets and African American people, at least as far as I could tell. I saw some interesting tweets though. I especially liked the tweet including the painting of Malcolm X. But what else I noticed was that most of the responses were for the tweets from the news outlets, such as the New York Times and CNN. Regular people would get very little comments, likes, and tweets. Which brings me to my own involvement in this Twitter topic. I am not the type of person who likes to talk about politics on Twitter. I have actively tried to stay away from that. But this was for school, so this time I did get involved. However, that did not mean I would say anything dangerous. All I did was tweet out the New York Times article with the caption, "How did this take so long?" And I used the hashtag related to the topic, #MalcolmX. I used the class hashtag because I wanted my peers to see this as soon as possible. I tweeted this on the day of their exoneration, but I never expected any likes or comments or anything. And that's exactly what happened. I realized that this wrongful conviction involves disinformation and misinformation. According to How Misinformation Spreads by Samuel Spies, social scientists have adopted a definition of disinformation as a false information that spreads deliberately with the intention to harm a target population or mobilize allies. Misinformation is often defined as false information that is spread unintentionally but tends to harm. I believe that at the time of Malcolm X's murder, this was disinformation. The evidence exonerating the 2 men was withheld, and the government insisting they were guilty was deliberately spread to harm Muhammad A. Azazi and Khalil Islam. That made this disinformation. Now, I won't speak for everyone else, but if you learned about Malcolm X and his murder in school, you were fed misinformation. After 55 years, people just repeat what they learned in school. It wasn't intentionally spreading false information, but it did do harm. That is the very definition of misinformation. But now, thanks to multiple people's hard work, the truth has finally been revealed. And now the history books will be changed and misinformation will stop spreading. And it's our job as future or current educators to teach this to our students. Everyone has their own way of teaching, and I'm sure there are many different ways to correct this spread of misinformation. But if a teacher needs some inspiration, they can take a look at Draft NYS K-12 Computer Science and Digital Fluency Learning Standards. For example, there's 3-5 DL4. Use a variety of digital tools and resources to create and revise multimedia digital artifacts. The example given says students create a digital story to demonstrate understanding of a concept, such as the branches of government. A teacher could have their student create a digital story about Malcolm X and include the wrongful convictions and exonerations of Muhammad A. Azazi and Khalil Islam. However we decide to teach, it's important to remember to focus on the truth. The truth is, Muhammad A. Azazi and Khalil Islam did not assassinate Malcolm X. Disinformation spread by the Federal Bureau of Investigation and the New York City Police Department convicted them, and misinformation kept the truth from coming out for 55 years. And now, It's our responsibility as educators to make sure everyone knows and remembers what really happened. Thank you for watching.